So what we will do then is go to the first topic, and then I'll sort of go through the line here, and they'll each have 3 minutes, as we said, for each one. And he's sitting next to me because I'm going to tap him on the shoulder for 3 minutes. And John's got some interesting insights to share about wide format. He's actually got a couple of slides. So, ready?
Yep. So in our world, we were asked to do wide format 10 years ago. We did it as just a couple things, and it's grown, and it's totally out of hand, and most shops are the same way. Well, we have a lot of the printers, and as the jobs came in, the lead times were shorter, the volume started to increase, and where we were really lacking is the finishing aspect of things. We were still, back in the day, still cutting things by hand or up on the board, and it really restricted us on the products. We were basically squares, some circles, but it really presented a lot of problems. So how can we bring in a new product and get our designers on board, get senior managers on board for funding? We ended up looking into a flatbed printer, and as soon as you bring that into your organization, it opens up so many products for your designers. So immediately the designers were completely on board. They wanted all these new things, so I had their buy-in on it. But then now comes, all right, what's the savings? What time are you saving? How much money are you going to save? We did a whole financial study on that, and we showed. But I think the key to this whole thing is look at what we were doing with the razors. Look at the liability that's involved with that. We did a study on the risk of the operator. We did a scenario of the craziest time of the year, the impact it would have on the team, the employee itself, and how would we be able to recover with the loss of that one headcount. And that helped us move forward. And there's just some of the things that we completed this last year. And since then, we installed it in January. Our work has increased 60% since we brought that machine in here, and we're able to hit all these last minute lead times now. That particular one with the hands, there was a typo on something. We literally had 3 hours to reproduce it and get it up in New York, and we were able to do that with this. So.
Awesome.
Well, at Boys Town Print Shop, we do lots of little, and one of the things that we found out that long runs for envelopes on our offset presses were good, but a lot of short runs on our offset presses weren't good, the setup time. So I came to an IPMA convention, went to a vendor fair, and found an envelope printer. The Zonte printer guys were there showing me theirs. And I found a way to get it after a few years of arm wrestling. And we got that installed, and I had a department come to me and say they were having trouble with envelopes, addressed envelopes to their multifunctional device. Go figure. And they want to know if we could help them out. And 3 years later, we're doing, on a daily basis, 100 to 1,000 addressed envelopes with the letters now to go with them, and found out a way to help that customer out. They were so happy and with our success with them that they've talked to other departments who do monthly birthday cards to donors, monthly birthday cards to staff. They found other people to do other things on our short order press, our short order envelopes. So we're doing 30,000 to 50,000 envelopes out in a month now, based on what other people are telling us. Lots of little ones, very few big ones, over 1,000. We're able to help our organization that way, and our costs are pretty inexpensive. The local market, I found the best price I could find on the outside was about 9 cents each. We're charging 8 cents each, and it costs us about half of that. So my payoff on this equipment is going to be pretty short, less than a year. We're on our second Zonte now, because we want to do the edge printing for those business supply envelopes that mark goes way up to the edge, and the newer software all helped us out too. I think I covered.
Awesome. And I know Bob's written a lot about some of the envelope equipment, that there's a lot of implants that have been getting it. So next up will be Federal Home Bank Atlanta, and Robbie's going to talk about binding.
So for us, we do several workshops throughout the year, kind of have goals the bank set up for our shareholders to attend workshops sort of like this, just where they can learn more about what the bank has to offer. And with those, we print several materials, collateral materials, and one of them was, all of them, we used to do the cone binding, and you open those up and the pages go flying everywhere and that kind of stuff. So we sat around with the team and we decided, okay, what is kind of working? What can we do different? And one of the things that the team came up with, they said, well, why don't we just add the perfect binding in there? So we were able to add in a perfect binding machine, and for the resource guidebooks, it's wonderful because we can, instead of doing the cone binding or any of that, we're now using that machine to actually take care of the materials. And then also we've added the coil and wire binding and yeah, that's it. And it's all on our Xerox machine so that we can punch while we go on the fly. So it's been a really huge asset and added value to our implant shop.
So I'm going to have you slide the mic. It's just because you guys are sharing mics, if you can slide and lean in a bit, especially you soft talkers. Okay, Shelley is going to talk about upgrading equipment and adding new workflow software.
First, by a show of hands, how many people actually know what QDirect does? Because I wanted to explain that real quick if you don't. So there's just a couple that do. So just real quickly, QDirect will take, it's a software that you put on your small copiers throughout our school district. The software is on there, so when they go up to the copier, they hit a tab, and then everything they put into the copier, the information as far as it's one-sided, two-sided, what color paper, all that information, instead of printing out in that copier machine right there, it actually goes to a computer in our print shop. And then on our end, it looks like an Excel sheet of all the jobs that have come in. So I just wanted to explain that to you because that's what we went into that made such a huge difference for us. We have just 4 people that work in my shop, and we are doing almost 200,000 copies a day. And we have 5 mid-size machines that are doing that. So the technology is excellent as far as getting everything done so quickly, because we couldn't possibly do that if we had to enter that information into each copier. So what we do is we continually go out to the schools to train staff, because we always have new people coming. We are constantly building new schools because our original schools were built in the 1940s. And for 20 years, nobody upgraded any schools. So about the last 15 years, they're redoing schools and adding schools. So training is really imperative, because people will just not want to do it because it'll look too high-tech for people that have been teaching for years and years. They just don't want to touch it, which actually when you show it to them, they're so happy they know it, because they can spend minutes at the copier instead of their planning hour at the copier. And it's been really a good experience for everybody. I've only had a couple people, and once I explained and would go out to their school and show them, everyone was converts right away. It was really helpful. I also want to make sure that my staff, because we don't deal with that end of it, I did have to take them out and train them really well on it, because if somebody calls and is having a problem, like sometimes the confirmation sheet that they get after they put in doesn't come out. Well, that could just be that the paper's in the wrong tray or in the wrong direction. So my staff needs to know all those variables, so if somebody calls on the phone, they can just help them over the phone and not have to send somebody out to help them. So it's been an incredible software. We've gone from doing 30,000 copies a day to almost 200,000, so really helpful.
Great, thanks.